Okay, I think we're live. Hi, everybody. I assume you can see us.
Fun.
Yeah, so we're trying out a new service, which I'm seeing some activity behind this screen, which tells me something's happening. But we're trying out a new service we can multi-stream to various platforms. So right now, apparently, I'm going to check in just a second. I'll actually give you the live feedback as I check, but we're live on OwnStream Community, the YouTube OwnStream, and Twitter. Why not? Twitter was sort of a throw-in, but this thing has, it
It'd be
has
fun to
all.
see if we get some engagement on Twitter.
It would be fun. It'd be amazing. Like just Twitter blew up with this haphazard live video. All right,
We
let's.
wanted to do this because we've been having some amazing conversations, and we didn't want to restrict people to force people to have to join the OwnStream community, basically to see these conversations live. We have some amazing guests who have followings of their own, and lot of people have joined the OwnStream community to hear the interviews, but we definitely felt like we want a broader engagement based available, and we have our YouTube channel, and yeah, wanted to try out a few different platforms because we definitely didn't want people who follow our guests to not be able to watch the video live, or other people to access it live because it was restricted to the own stream community. So we're trying something new with this. Are you
Good. Yeah.
checking it? Yeah, cool.
So I see us live in. We're live in the OwnStream community, and now, okay, let's see how we're doing on the OwnStream platform. I think we're live on the OwnStream platform. I see some. Yeah, I see some activity on the OwnStream page, rather. We don't usually use the OwnStream page. One of the puzzling things about Facebook is that you create a page. We have almost 6,000 followers on our OwnStream page, but unless you pay to have posts boosted and things of that nature, they tend to not be seen. So maybe this live video will slip through.
There are a lot of ways to try to crack those Facebook limitation codes, and we've certainly tried, as many others have. Who knows? Maybe there will be some better platforms. Some other platforms are emerging, so we'll see. We'll see about that. But
Quite a few on Hi OwnStream. We have a good amount on
maybe
them.
you'll see us.
Yeah.
Well, we're really excited about. We're here to talk about our conversation with Nicolas Perrin tomorrow. And we're so excited about this conversation, as we have been with all of them. We've had some really amazing guests in this series, but it'll be so fun to connect with Nicolas. The last time we saw him was in Costa Rica in February 2018,
Was in March. Yeah.
March 2018, a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago during the Envision Festival. So whenever that is in Costa Rica, it's a big festival in Costa Rica, and it's meant to bring together the voices of people. They have many, many, many workshops, and many. It's a like kind of a music festival combined with an enlightenment type festival combined with a social change festival. The idea is it's one of those festivals geared at bringing people together to co-create new paradigms for Earth, and so bringing together thinkers in that, and it's also a huge party and all of that. So. But we got to meet Nicolas there because we had a mutual friend, Anthony. That's how we got connected to Nicolas,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, Nicolas, I'll have to let us know. I'm pretty sure that's how it wasn't just a random, because we also had some amazing kind of random encounters with people there. But I'm pretty sure we met up with Nicolas at the
Pretty
festival.
sure that's how.
And it was just one of those really beautiful soul connections where you feel like you've known the person forever when you first meet them. And it was really, really special. And we've thought of him many times since, because what we were embarking on at the time in Costa Rica 2 years ago, and a little bit before that, was aiming to create a community there. We had gone with a number of friends from a spiritual community that we share, a lot of like-minded, like-hearted beings, and had gone specifically to Costa Rica after having a number of visions ourselves earlier in 2017 of creating a community. And it didn't quite work out the way we had thought, but what's been fascinating is that in this time of COVID-19 and the major shifts happening in the world right now, Stephen and I very strongly have felt those visions coming back, and they didn't really go away, but we had a specific idea of what we wanted to create here in Las Vegas, which is why we ended up here, because otherwise it's not a place that kind of met our other ambitions around creating community, being close to the land, growing our own food, being off grid, and just creating a new earth type paradigm for community and lifestyle. But we came here to create a big project that now we don't know. That's a sidebar about whether that type of gathering will happen in the near future, given the changes happening. So we're returning to these visions for community, as many of you know, and very strongly being called toward that. And so we wanted with this series to both dive into conversations with people as we've been having around like what's happening on the earth, what's really happening behind the coronavirus, like what are we being called as a collective, what does this reflection mean for us, what is it revealing about us, what changes can we help to make on the planet. And we also wanted to start having, now that we've had a few of those, to some really concrete conversations with people about what can we create, and people who have had specific knowledge base and skill sets and intuitions and visions about what can be created in a new society. And so this conversation really deliberately turns in that direction, more specifically around the area of community. And Nicholas, and I'll shut up in a minute. Nicholas, when we met him, we had this ambition of community. And here comes Nicholas, who was basically on a journey that year, or maybe longer, I think Stephen knows, of studying communities around the world. He had been to a few of the communities in Costa Rica, a number of others, and that was what he was doing, studying communities. What were they like? What worked? What didn't? And that was what he was doing. And he had so much wisdom to share about what he had learned. And that was 2 years ago. So here we are coming to talk to Nicholas now. And I know Stephen knows a little bit more, I think, about what.
I mean, that's basically, you said it. And I'm not sure he hasn't stopped that trip. I think he may still be on that trip. Maybe he's gone home, but yeah, he's been actively kind of from the inside out exploring and living in and experiencing not only communities, but also just very sacred places. I know he spent some time in Guatemala and other places. Mexico, he's been going to a lot of the ruins there. And so he's been really, really on an active kind of pilgrimage, looking backwards and forwards, while being himself very present. I distinctly remember talking with Nick at Envision under one of those trees, surrounded by mud and kids
Exactly.
off a styrofoam, or not, like paper plates, and we were trying to eat and have it. It was amazing.
They're compostable, reusable plates, I think. Like everything was zero impact. That was the idea. Like everything was zero impact there, no trash. So.
And it was great. We had a beautiful time. And he was one of a few kind of amazing rendezvous we had at that Envision Festival. Envision Festival was like, it's really it's kind of a big party. But nevertheless, we would come kind of during the adult hours, which is, I guess, like 3 to 8. And after that, it's like, forget it. And before that, it's too hot. But so between 3 and 8. And so anyway, we had a nice connection with him and learned about what he was doing, which sounded amazing and really, really interesting. So we've kept up with him. He and I have corresponded for the last couple of years. And we talked back in the summer when we moved here. And Teresa, you're right. Like the whole Great Awakening project sort of kind of, as many of us have kind of cast our vision forward in terms of the linear timeline that's unfolding, it seemed very clear that there needed to be a kind of a catalytic event of awakening, however that would materialize. And we felt like what we had designed in the Great Awakening could be part of that. Not quite like what's happening now, of course. And so we're sort of just watching things unfold and kind of how everything is moving to see what kind of relevance this may have going forward. That's a big question. And we're exploring various ways to reconfigure, redesign it, and play with it different ways that it might kind of be more suitable to what seems to be beckoning, but who knows?
For those of you who don't know, the Great Awakening is a large performance / experience project. So we were testing out, or had really neat, really cool vision for a different kind of live experience. And that's why we came to Las Vegas, because, well, lots of pointers brought us here, really. That's why we ended up here. But this seemed like a pretty ideal place to pilot a very cool new experience. And also Las Vegas being this just kind of like, it was a perfect thematic place, because it's sort of like all, it's like everything's like the fake version of everything, it's like the fake Paris, the fake Roman Colosseum, the fake whatever, New York. And so uh, the idea was to create the show as a piercing through the matrix kind of adventure, and helping you define your true infinite connection to something greater, your true nature. And it was it's the vision is an epic romp through Vegas that leads you in that direction. And so now we don't know, because of the whole, who knows about mass gatherings, because
So
there's
I
some
know
mass gathering elements of that.
really
Uh,
like the world's climate when that piece started to kind of appear is just so different now.
Everything's accelerating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who
With
knows
that.
if, what will become of it? But it has rejuvenated. This whole experience has rejuvenated our interest in kind of being a part of the builders of a new kind of paradigm, and not just, and certainly starting energetically, but then kind of like being members of the kind of creative force for that. And Nicholas is absolutely part of that too. So I'm interested to ask him questions like, how do they structure their communities? I mean, physically, what does it look like? What does it feel like when you walk around? How do they relate to the natural world that they've kind of populated? What kind of leadership structures, if any, are in place? Is there kind of an internal means of value exchange which doesn't resemble kind of the currency systems that we have? Things like that. Are there sacred kind of community gatherings? Is there a pulse that you feel through the space? Are there, what's the sense of intention around these communities? Do they have clarity around that? I imagine they do. Is it stated, and how does that kind of permeate, all facets of how they live together? Kids, like education, like what kind of pioneering designs are appearing in and around that, if any? Or is it just sort of like dissolve the whole notion of education, just let them let them live, and they're part of the culture, which is kind of how I intuitively feel like it ought to be. Stuff like that. Like I'm so excited to get kind of really, really specific and just see what he's seen and what he's learned. And two, to kind of, so I know he's had a lot of experiences, but then kind of like what based on all that does he see as like, wow, if I could kind of just almost like a holodeck, just put it in place like right in front of me, what would it look like? How would it feel? Where would it be? Who would be there? That kind of thing. It'd be fun to just sort of see like how he's playing with this in his own vision.
Yeah, very exciting. I'm interested in all of that. I'm interested in specifically around the intention piece, because some of the anecdotal things we heard in Costa Rica, when we went there and like we talked to people about this, like, oh yeah, everybody wants to create a community in Costa Rica. We weren't the first to think of that, and there are a number of some quite enduring, successful communities, and a couple other big ones that are on the rise, literally now, and so. Some of the anecdotal things we heard were that a lot of the reason some of those ambitions, those efforts had failed, was that people weren't on the same page and weren't really unified in their intention and about what the community was about, and about some of the contribution structures and things like that. And so I'm interested just in hearing from him kind of what makes a successful, thriving community, and what I'm sure that that's different. You can be united around various intentions, in our explorations, we've seen some total things we heard were that a lot of the reasons united around more kind of ecological harmony with the earth. And there's that. And then there's some that are more spiritual in nature, and some of both. And so it would just be interesting to hear from someone who's visited so many and had personal experience in so many, um, the answers to these, because we're very, Stephen and I, along with a number of others I know, are very intentionally interested in and moving in the direction of creating a community, in some way, shape, or form. So it will be very exciting for us, and we hope you join us. Anything else you wanted to share, Stephen?
No, I think we'll just do it like this tomorrow. We'll just go live everywhere and just see sort of how it works. Let people figure out where they want to be, and then
Yeah, let us know if you saw this, where you saw it.
well, yes. So this conversation with Nicholas will be May 1st, Friday. That's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. So 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. And we hope that that will allow for our friends in Europe to participate, because we have a lot of friends in Europe who are interested in this topic. So please join us. If you know you can't attend, but yet because I know we have a friend in New Zealand who's quite keen on this, and I've invited him to send questions ahead of time.
Great.
Want to either send OwnStream a message or just post it in the OwnStream community, please do so. And we'll be sure to add that to our list as it develops. Because one thing we've been doing is having these videos be live. We've been having people kind of interact with us in the OwnStream community, posing their questions. We'll do the same tomorrow. I will only be checking the OwnStream community for questions, just for simplicity's sake. So if you have a question, you think, oh, wow, this topic's really interesting, I want to be able to interact with these guys and maybe throw some visions out there, some thoughts or questions for Nicholas, please join the OwnStream community. That's facebook.com/groups/OwnStream, or just search OwnStream community. That's me typing in the search bar, and we'll let you in right away. So that's how we'll lay it out tomorrow. That's Friday, May 1st, which is our daughter's birthday eve, which will be fun. Friday, May 1st at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Please join us. Hope to see you there.
Thanks, everyone.
See you tomorrow.